Welcome and welcome back, fiber friends, to yet another episode of the Wool to Gold podcast. Today we're going to be doing essentially like a fiber arts vlog, okay? I recently signed a lease for a new apartment. Very excited to be moving. I'm going to be moving to Delaware. I've been wanting to move for a super long time. I'm going to talk a little bit about like why I want to move, some of my goals with this move, and I'm going to take you along with some of the preparations that I need to do before I actually move. So I have two dirty fleeces, at least two dirty fleeces that I really need to scour up before I actually move. I just think like I'm going to have opportunities to scour the fleece after I move, obviously, but it's just going to be easiest and fastest if I just do it now. And I know I'm going to be thanking myself at my new apartment if I just have clean fleeces to work with, and I just need to like, I don't know, mordant them and dye them up as opposed to like washing them as well. I think it'll just make it a lot easier. So yeah, that's why we have this massive gallon size unicorn power scour out today, because we need the big stuff. And then I also have, this is one of the nets that I use to scour fleeces. Yeah, I already have some water going. We're gonna check on that soon. I've already kind of started one of the scouring rounds because we need to get things started this morning, okay? I've got 3 days off and I want to take you guys along on the journey of my next 3 days of like washing my fleeces, reorganizing my yarn stash. I'm trying to use up as much of my yarn stash as possible, and I'm going to be making an entirely separate video of like everything I crochet for my new apartment, and I'm going to take you guys along on that little journey. But we're just going to be doing a more like casual vlog again where I talk about like why I'm actually moving and the move in general. And yeah, we're gonna wash some fleeces. I also have a felting project that I really need to get done. So I have this whole like, it's a cross fleece. I can't remember. It's a Gotland BFL, maybe Gotland BFL cross. I can't exactly remember, but it's beautiful, and I really want to turn it into a felted rug, and that would be perfect for moving into my new apartment. So maybe we'll start that project, or I don't know, at least I'll show you guys the fleece or something. I do have to weave the ends in on some of these crochet projects that I have already finished for my apartment, so you're probably going to see a sneak peek of those. But I really need to cast on another. I made this little washcloth. It's just to, like, for my face, like a little face washcloth. It's 100% cotton. It's a thrifted cotton. I should grab the tag because it's a fairly well-known brand. I think it's just like a colorway they don't run anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I had a really fun, this is the sedge stitch. I've never done the sedge stitch before. It's essentially like, it's like a scallop. I feel like it's scallop adjacent to me, especially in the way where you place your stitches every other row. But essentially it's like a single crochet, half double, and then a double crochet, so it makes kind of like a large like fan-ish, I don't know, shape. I think it's super cute. I really like these colors. I've made a bunch of like dishcloths and things for my kitchen, but these are going to be for my bathroom and my shower. I just really like this color. I have about half the skein left, so I need to cast on another one and finish the skein off, get it out of the way, and, you know, have another face washcloth that I can bring along with me. And once again, I'm using this pink 4mm hook that I'm pretty sure I got at a thrift store. I also really want to cast on a few, well, I don't know, they're really short, so can you count it as a cast on? Yeah, I'm casting on. I'm starting a project, okay? I want to do a bunch of granny squares with this jumbo Karen cake. It's the, I guess, I don't know if you would call this a gradient or variegated. I thought it was super cute. The colorway is white water. It is 12 ounces, 340 grams, 100% acrylic. It's almost 600 yards. It's 595 yards. It's a lot of freaking yarn. I have 4 of these, and I really want to make like a bunch of granny squares. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them yet. The plan is to save them and then like, I don't know, maybe add them as like a decorative piece, or like use them to cover a piece of furniture that I find that I don't like a piece of, or that needs like, I don't know, a little zhuzh. Or alternatively, I'll just turn them into like pillowcases or coasters. Like you see where I'm going with this. You can kind of use granny squares for anything, and these guys take up a lot of space. I would much rather they be in a more practical format of something that I can use, as opposed to just this like, I don't know, this massive thing of yarn that's just taking up a lot of space. So I also would really like to start some of those, but we're gonna see if we get to that today. I feel like I have a lot of lofty aspirations. We're gonna see how many of these I actually get to in the next 3 days. So obviously this fiber is like a long ways from clean, right? It's only gone through its first washing, but the sheer color difference in like even the base locks, like right here compared to like the dirty fleece over here, I don't know, of course it's getting like, I don't know, blown out in the shot, but these are very yellow. This base is very yellow down here. And just one rinse just does a lot for the fiber. I have another batch going over here. I'm hoping to get another one going in this guy. All right, so I've been wanting to talk about why I am moving for a while, just because I think there are people who could like resonate with the feeling, or perhaps like are seeking some kind of outside validation for their reasons for moving, okay? Because here's the thing, the first thing that at least I experience from, you know, it tends to be people who are not that close to me in my life, but sometimes, depending on where you are in your life, these are going to be comments that you get from people who are very close to you. And a lot of people will say, well, like, what do you think that moving is going to accomplish? Like, things are kind of the same. Everything is the same everywhere. You have to work a shitty job that you don't like everywhere. You have to pay high bills everywhere. Like, why bother moving at all? And while I think it's totally valid to always really evaluate like why you're moving and understand that just like anything in life, moving is not going to solve all of your problems, right? I think you have to be very self-aware and able to like identify exactly what the problems in your life are, like the core problems too, not the problems that cause those like outer problems, right? And see if moving would actually change those things for you. So I'm going to kind of explain like what I mean by this. I am someone who has lived many places in my life. I've lived in Virginia, I've lived in Texas, I've lived in New Jersey. I have visited many places in this United States. I actually think that the United States is an exceptionally like physically beautiful country, and it's really sad what we have done to it and how little we actually value like the natural beauty that this country has to offer. The US is so much bigger than I think a lot of people realize. Like when I lived, even me myself, when I lived in Texas, it was very quickly brought to my attention that like living in New Jersey as such a tiny state is so different than living in a state where you could drive 12 hours and still be in that state. Like, I don't know, there's something to enjoying or kind of reveling in the differences that each place has to offer in the US. That's kind of what I'm saying here. I have really enjoyed, you know, getting the chance to live a lot of places. I really prefer a warmer climate. I've talked about this so many times. I really prefer a warmer climate. Like, I run cold, unfortunately, and so even in warmer climates, I kind of need like a sweater or something like that. And I don't know, I just feel more productive when it is warmer. The fact of the matter is, though, like, the first place that I was wanting to move, I'd say about a year ago, was Georgia. I really wanted to move to Savannah, and that, as many people are aware, quickly became, like, a very unsafe thing for me to do, unfortunately. And then, you know, there was the recent loss of Jonathan Joss. Like, I just really can't justify moving back down to, like, the deep south, but I also couldn't justify moving any more north than I currently am because the seasonal depression would just take me out. It's just not the vibe. I also just didn't want to move super duper far from New Jersey. Like, I've been living, I don't know, living in Virginia was like a nice medium, right? I was far-ish from my family, but not like too far. Living in Texas, as much as it was like a really good time in my life, was a little bit tough because I was very physically far from a lot of the people in my life that like I care about and love. And obviously living here in New Jersey, I am still also like in the reverse way very far from people in my life that I love and care about and would like to be closer to. Even I have a lot of people that still live in Virginia as well. And I have just missed having a sense of community. And this kind of brings me to my next point, and I think a lot of people are going to resonate with this, and I would like to explain further and deeper than just, you know, I'm seeking a sense of community. I live in a rural community. and I need to find that community elsewhere. It's not just that. I am not a person who is built for like city living. There's a reason I don't live in New York City. Like, I don't think that living in a city for someone who identifies as LGBTQ or queer in general, like, I don't think it's a necessity to live in a city in order to find community. However, I do believe that in rural communities, like, it's more difficult sometimes to foster community in general, right? There is a smaller pool of people in general, and then if you do happen to live in an area where it is like more conservative, then it can just be it's incredibly difficult. Like, I'll just be super honest and blunt here. Like, I'm in my hometown, everybody knows who I am. There is no After 9 years on testosterone, I never get to introduce myself. Everybody knows who I am. I still get dead named and misgendered like everywhere, all the time, in town, which is ridiculous and very much a forced effort. And you know, it's even too, like, there's nothing here. I live in a very rural town, right? There's not a lot of stuff here. And so people have to go elsewhere for everything, which means even though my job is literally 45 minutes away, I still have that same problem at my job that's 45 minutes away. It's the same people. Everyone knows me. Everyone knows me, everything about, or they think they know me. That's really the issue, I guess, is that, like, again, everybody has this like preconceived idea of me, my personality, what they think I'm going to be like based on a few details that they know about me from literally 10 years ago, from someone's brother or sister or cousin or sibling that went to school during the same time I did. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a very different person than I was in high school, both in good ways and in bad ways, I'm sure. And it's irritating. It's exhausting. It's like that one, I don't know if you guys ever watch a Dead End Paranormal Park. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. I like cartoons, okay? That one scene with Barney and Norma really resonates with me. It's real. It's an experience that it just sucks. It just sucks because it very much feels like everyone else gets to continue on with their lives and change, but you're kind of forced to remain the same, except you're not, is the issue. You're not the same. And so it's very, very confusing because everybody's acting like you are that exact same person. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's frustrating and irritating. And again, it extends to, like, I can't even like work my job without running into it. It's really irritating and difficult to navigate, especially because, like, I'll be at my job and people will want to have full on conversations about, like, essentially like my medical history, like asking the exact questions that people have no right to ask, but then they do. And that's really hard to navigate when I'm trying to serve like 8 tables and a big party just walked through the door that I have to take care of, and you want me to justify like which, my surgery decisions or lack thereof to you. Like, that's crazy, and I just like don't want to have to deal with that anymore. And again, I don't know how many young people especially like can resonate with this. I'm someone who like left my hometown the second that I could, and I really thrived outside of this environment. And I moved back for personal reasons that I think are, again, 1000% valid. I don't really want to go into them. I don't really want to have to explain them. I think it's like no one's business. I do not regret my decision to move home at all, and I think it was the best decision for me at the time. But it is no longer serving me in the way that I need it to. And so, yeah, I do think that moving somewhere else will solve this particular problem. Does that make sense? And I think if you have a similar issue where you just like can't find community because you feel like you're kind of stuck in a loop or stuck in the way that, this tiny area of the world too, like there's a whole world to explore on top of everything else. I think people, if you are someone who like thinks they might enjoy living somewhere else, go give it a try. Go give it a try, because at the end of the day, like, what all of the older people in your life tell you, like, is absolutely true. It only gets harder to move different places and try new cities, like, as you get older and you do start to form, like, roots, relationships. If buying a house and having children is something that you for some reason are interested in, you know, like those things can really prevent you from making those easy, crazy jumps that people make in their 20s and 30s. And so that's just something that's worth like keeping in mind as well, that like I'm still in my 20s. I don't really have anything tying me to this place, and I don't like living here. I don't like living here, so I'm gonna move. And yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to live near the beach. I am going to be in a very like beachy place when I move. I am going to be exploring the surrounding cities that I am going to be living near. I'm not really going to be sharing like the specific outer skirt city that I'm going to be located in because, you know, privacy details. But I'm moving very, very close, like right on the border near Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time there. I think it's going to be super fun. It is notorious for having a very, very strong LGBTQ community, especially like one a little bit on the older side, which I personally really appreciate. I personally am going to be making a really big effort to like connect with that community, because I think now more than ever, like knowing that history, which unfortunately we have lost like generations of history due to the AIDS crisis. And so I think like, I don't know, I really feel like that's something that I need to do, that I would really like to do, is to connect with that history and hear more firsthand from just connect more with older queers, right? Like they're cool, they've lived through a lot, and I don't know, I just think that that's something that I would really like to do in my new place. I also think like I'm moving for work reasons as well. I think a lot of people can resonate with being in a smaller town or a more rural area where even like the best job that you can get is not necessarily as lucrative as like the worst job that you can get in like a city or a more touristy or bustling area. And something that I really miss about San Antonio is living in like kind of a touristy area. I don't know, I love a tourist trap. I love kitsch, okay? I love camp. I love it. And there is no doubt that like the energy down in Rehoboth Beach in terms of like beach towns is very different than like some of the beach towns up here in Jersey. Okay, Wednesday check-in. It is once again the next day. I have not washed nearly as much fleece as I had hoped that I was going to wash, like at all. I have made a small dent, and I'm now realizing that I kind of have to go into overdrive and start washing fleece like really aggressively, which is exactly what I was kind of trying to avoid by doing this, but I guess I kind of got to it too late. That's okay. We live and we learn. I'm gonna try to get these fleeces completely clean before I leave. If I don't, it is what it is. I'll have, I don't know, maybe one dirty fleece. I'm hoping to at least get one of them clean. I did sew in a lot of the ends for some of these projects. So I sewed in the ends for this, and I added the cute little button, as you can see. I wove in the ends for these bad boys. I finished 2 face washcloths in this really soft teal cotton. This one is in like a, is this my one that's in Sedge Stitch? Yeah, this is a scallop, and this is Sedge Stitch. This made me want to do like a whole project in Sedge Stitch, so keep an eye out for that. I do think I'm gonna try to work on that whenever I can. The blobs, I mean, they're still blobbing. I haven't woven in the ends for these because it's just going to be uphill because there's a ton of them, and I just don't want to do that. That's another reason I'm not motivated to make a 3rd blob. I'm gonna be so real with you guys, but maybe I will. We'll see, okay? We have quite a bit of time before I actually have to move, and yet not enough time at all. One thing that I did actually cast on is one of those, I mean, a lot of the people who make these designs make this bottom like a fruit, and then it's going, this like netted part is going to be able to fold into like a cute little circular holder. I just decided, because I have these cones of yarn that I'm trying to use up. Look at how close I am to being done with this cone of yarn. Very excited. I'm trying to use them up for practical things, and I don't know, this project seemed like it would be a bit of a yarn eater. And so I think I'm going to try to make at least one of these, and then I'm going to try to also make this same design in this dark green color as well. Again, I want to get these cones out of the way. They've been very helpful. I've made many things with them, but it's time for them to go. I'm kind of getting sick of the color. I'm kind of getting sick of having to move them around too. They just take up a lot of space, and now that there's not that much yarn left on them, like, it's kind of just a nuisance. Alrighty, fiber friends, I'm back. I'm gonna level with you. I'm gonna tell you all the things that happened, and TBH, it's been like a whole week. It's been like a whole week since I took any of that footage. Things got busy. Yeah, it's hectic around here. There's a lot going on. So I washed and dried about half of one of the Rommeldale fleeces, the blue ribbon winner. So that's like, I don't know, the process has started. I'm gonna try to wash more of it today, but I really also want to like edit and post something because I feel like I haven't posted in a while. I haven't given you guys an update on, I don't know, why I've been so absent. I don't know if you can tell, I really just woke up. It's very much the beginning of the day. In addition though to all of that fleece washing that I have been trying to get done, also the weather has just been insane here. It was like raining for thunderstorming for like days and days, and now we're going through a heat wave, so it's still hard to wash fleece, but for like totally different reasons because it's like dangerous outside. So that has been fun to navigate. But in addition to all of that, I have been crocheting a ton because that is the easiest thing for me to do, like with the 15 minutes that I have after work, or like the 10 minutes that I have while I wait for an appointment that I'm trying to get out of the way, stuff like that. So I want to show you guys some of the other stuff that I finished. Keep in mind, this is not going to be all of it because, again, I'm going to do a whole episode where I show you guys all the things that I have thrifted for my new apartment and then all the things that I have made for my new apartment. But something that I finished recently, you can see the empty cones. Guys, I finally finished these 2 cones of Re-Up. It's a polyester cotton blend. I can't remember by who at this point. But yeah, I got this from Joann's forever ago. I've had these cones and I've used them to make a lot of things, but really it was time to say goodbye to them. I really just was tired of them taking up a ton of space, and yeah, so these are all the things that I made with the cone. First, I made this big dish mat, okay? It's gonna go in my kitchen. It's just for my dishes to dry under. It's the waffle stitch. And I think that the polyester cotton blend will just make it strong and it'll absorb some of the excess water on my dishes that are drying. I also made another hand towel. Okay, this one's more of like a bathroom hand towel, at least in my opinion. It has this little stripe of the dark green down below, and then the rest of it is in teal. And then other things that I made with the Re-Up, I also made, I don't know if did I show this to you guys already? I'm gonna show it off one last time. Maybe I showed it to you guys already, but I made one of these bags that like, it folds into itself, but it's just like a little produce bag, and I don't know, I just think I'm gonna use it. I think it's cute, and then it just has like a hole, and you kind of just like fold it back up into itself. And yeah, it's just a little pouch. I don't know, I thought that was cute. And then I'm sure, as you guys noticed, I have started making granny squares like I said I was going to, okay? It was a slow start because I don't make them often, so I had to remember like all the details of making them, but I've made 5 small ones, okay? And you can see some of them are solid colored and some of them are gradient because I'm using this jumbo Karen. It's the ombre gradient cake. I guess it's not a cake, it's a skein, gradient skein. And I wanted to use this because it kind of like, the color changes it gets done themselves. I don't have to weave in a ton of ends. And I think I'm thinking of making like a bunch of big ones and then a bunch of small ones and then maybe a bunch of like really extra big ones, and then sewing them all together to make a blanket or maybe a scarf and hat set. I have a bunch of these. I have like 4 of these bad boys, and then I have 3 more of this like kind of yarn but in a salmon and blue colorway. And so expect to see maybe some of those items end up on my shop. Some of them I do have some gifts that I want to make for some people that are celebrating some things coming up in my life. But yeah, that is all I have made for now. Okay, for now. I am still trucking away. I'm doing a lot of packing. Again, I'm trying to get things out of the way. I had to go get a certified check. I had to, get my like utility and internet hookup like at least a week before I move, and I'm coming up on the like 2 weeks before I move mark, which is super duper exciting. But yeah, that's all I really have to share for now. Normally I would not post this video. I'm gonna be so real with you guys. There's so much footage and like whole videos that you guys never saw because I didn't like that I had actually like succeeded. I hadn't like finished the task I'd set out to, or I just didn't feel like there was an obvious or natural end to the video, or I like didn't have like a proper outro. But at the end of the day, I feel like right now in my life, I'm trying not to get overly hung up on perfection. I'm trying to just show up for myself and, you know, really just try to keep doing the things that I love, even though I am under a lot of stress right now, you know. And this is what that looks like. This is the capacity to which I have the ability to like keep you guys in the loop and edit and post right now, and that's okay. That's okay, because in a few weeks that's gonna change and I'm gonna have a little bit more time on my hands. So yeah, I don't know, I'm really excited for the changes ahead. I hope you guys are too. I hope you don't mind that this video was just a little sloppy, a little messy, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of the Wool to Gold podcast.